What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Will Hunters. You're now tuned into Legendary Wisdom, where you'll gain some information that will guide you throughout your life, guide you throughout your journey, and just help you throughout your life experiences, I should say. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, my man Pro. Uh, we got a lot of topics we're gonna touch on today. A lot of a lot of gems I feel like we're gonna shoot today. So need to introduction, my man Pro. What's going on? How you feeling, bro?
What's up, man? Pleasure. I appreciate you having me, man. I'm feeling good,
For sure, for
man. You know what I
sure.
mean? This is great.
That's
I love
good.
what you got going. You know what I'm
Appreciate you, bro.
saying?
Appreciate you, bro. So now let me ask you though, because people, for those who don't know you, tell the people who is Pro.
Okay, my name is Pro. I own a couple of event venues. I also own a photography equipment rental business and a digital marketing agency where we build websites and roll out digital marketing plans. So I'm an all-around, I guess, entrepreneur in that sense, and just a man of focus and ambition.
Right, right, for sure, for sure. So let me ask you, what made you get into event spaces? Like, most of the time, most people when they say they starting a business, they don't think about event spaces. So, tell the people what made you get into it.
It was an opportunity that presented itself. I had a neighbor who had a unit, and they had moved out of the unit, and I ended up approaching the owner of the building, and I asked him. I said, "What is he gonna do with the space?"
Right.
And I had already seen them kind of operating the event venue, but they weren't doing it to no fashion where I felt like, hey, this could really go. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Right.
so the owner wasn't really feeling them at the time, wasn't really feeling me at the time, and he came back around maybe about a month later and said, hey, what do you think you could do with this space? And me, I come from a background where my family was in hospitality. So my grandfather had a catering service.
Right.
So I used to do, fill the punch bowl as a kid, do all that customer service stuff.
Right.
And so the venue thing didn't seem too far fetched from what I've already seen before. And so when the owner of the building asked me what I could do, I said, well, I know how to do digital marketing. I know how to build websites. I can do lead gen. If I apply this lead gen to the venue, I can probably get it popping. And I did. And so, multiple six figures later, I'm on my second venue, and we're gonna run that one up too.
That's dope. That's dope. So, I guess the valuable lesson in that is not passing up on opportunities when they present themselves to you.
Yeah, yeah. When you see something, move on it. And you know what the thing was? I didn't have the money at the time. So I still had the desire to say, you know what could I work out?
Right.
And we worked out a 50-50 deal instead of doing, he asked me if I wanted to pay rent.
Right.
I didn't want to pay rent because I didn't have rent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I said, well, how about we do 50-50? He's like, oh, I don't think that'll work. I said, well, this is the thing. Like, let's 3 months. See how it goes. If it works out and you feel like you're profitable, let's keep it going. And so, the first month, I think I didn't make anything the first month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually gave them all the money that we did make because it didn't even make sense to really keep it. You know what I
Right.
mean? It wasn't enough to be substantial. But the following month, I had a couple stop by say, man, I seen this venue and I wanted to have my wedding here.
Yeah.
And so I figured out some pricing for a wedding, and it was off to the races after that.
Okay, okay. I respect that. I respect that.
Good.
So, a lot of times people get discouraged when they don't see money in a short period of time when they're in business. Can you touch on your, not necessarily encouragement, but what was the motivation to keep going? Because some people, like I said, they don't see no money and they just say, you know what, I can't do it. Or better yet, touch on also being able to get the funds to even continue the business.
Yeah, I would say, you got to have patience with everything.
Right.
And you got to have patience with yourself. And you got to work with people that can have patience with you too, because getting something started is not an easy feat. It takes a lot of ingenuity, time, communication,
Right.
network to get your business up to speed. So you just got to have the mental fortitude to give yourself enough time to allow yourself what I call them, what I say is like errors in judgment, right? If I went in and I said, man, out the gate, we gonna get this popping. Don't even worry about it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, trust me,
Right.
50-50 deal, it's gonna be popping. You know what I mean? It's like, well, the reality is that may be an error in judgment. You know, your family may not be the ones to support you. You know, or your network of friends may say, man, I can't really afford your service, or it's not the right time. So
Right.
you just got to give yourself enough time and enough window to say, you know what, this may take 3 to 6 months to really start seeing some traction.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe about pretty much anything I start. You know, like, hey, it's going to be a 3 to 6 month roadmap to traction.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean it's even going to take off. I give myself another 2 years to really see it to be like profitable.
Right.
Word of mouth gets out. So I try to just really keep my grind high and my expenses low. So that keeps me from worrying about the money side.
Exactly.
So when I'm grinding high, my expenses are low. I don't have to worry about, man, will I be, if I'm coming up short, maybe I got to give a deal to some people to get them in the venue early, because that's what I was doing. I was
Right.
doing super low rates.
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
get people in the space and flood it out and get people seeing it, because it's a beautiful venue. You know what I mean? But after that traction started coming, then I started raising my prices, figuring out my sales pitch, doing more walkthroughs. The pipeline started, moving, and yeah, man.
What would you say is the most important area of business?
Um, as far as importance, what I kind of see as important is you have to have your operations down.
Mm-hmm.
What's your process? What's your onboarding process? What's your client intake process? Everything has a process. You know what I mean? What's your management system? How do I, in terms of the venue space, how do I attract a client, and what process do they go through to be onboarded into becoming a patron?
Okay.
So I look at that sales flow, and then I look at, okay, I have walkthroughs. So how do I communicate my walkthroughs? So I have a system and a framework for how I walk people through the actual venue.
Right.
And it's kind of systematic based on like certain questions that I'll ask, and it takes them through a mental process, and by the end of it, I'm closing the sale.
Right. I'm gonna add on to that. I feel like I'm starting to realize this, and I feel like that probably was like over the last year. One of the main things that I'm starting to focus more on is marketing and advertising. I feel like a lot of times, people get a business and I make this mistake myself, is you get a business and you just post without no, follow ups. And what I mean by follow ups is you can be watching TV, you could be on YouTube, you could be on Facebook, and what all are you gonna see? You're gonna see ads every time you watch or
Every
something.
time.
So people be afraid to spend that money because they be thinking to themselves, I don't even have the money myself, but if you spend the money on advertising, not only are you gonna gain that traction for people to see your brand, but they also gonna either buy or they're gonna have word of mouth and asking other people, have they heard of that brand? Have they seen that brand? Have they bought from that brand? Things of that nature, to where the traction for your brand starts to build.
Yeah.
So like over time, if you spending money on ads to get your brand out there, 9 times out of 10, somebody's gonna see it, or you might have the biggest year of your brand or your business in profit. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I want y'all to realize, is y'all definitely have to be um, mindful of how you're using your advertising, because just posting on social media is not all you need nowadays. Nowadays, you have to do more than that. You have to operate like you are a big company, because they're not going to just post on their Facebook or Instagram pages. Like I said, you're going to see on a ad, on a YouTube video, a Facebook video, Instagram videos, your stories that you see on Instagram, the TVs you watch during the Super Bowl, you're gonna see ads, and you have to invest in ads so that you can get out there. Even Coca-Cola, they been out here for years. They still using ads.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like McDonald's still using ads. Why? Because I mean, people are born every day. McDonald's is seen on every corner almost in America. But again, the ads, the more frequently that they see your brand, the more that they, like I said, the more they see it, the more they hear about it, the more they're gonna want to buy it. The more they're gonna want to get into seeing, okay, what is this? Okay, and then once you hook them, like McDonald's do, I don't eat McDonald's, but once they hook you, you're gonna keep coming back for more because you like the product.
Yeah, but you also like their service and their processes.
Exactly.
So it's like once you can attract a client, you got to make sure you can deliver on your promise.
Exactly.
And that's where I say the business system comes in at.
Yeah, for sure.
Your operations. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Now, I want to ask this: what is the importance of investing, not just in your own business, but in crypto, in stocks, in books that you read, courses, mentorships? What is the importance of investing?
Man, investing is the only way to grow. Um, Everything is an investment. Even your time in your business is an investment. We all want an ultimate return on value, and that it doesn't matter really what that investment is, but it's all a practice and it's a muscle and it gives you experience over time the more you do it. So you got to be in that practice because it helps you multiply your wealth, helps you get up to speed.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you see a lot of these guys and they're traveling the world, they're doing all these different things, they're able to take care of their families in a lot of ways. It's because they spend a lot of time investing, especially in education.
Right.
That's the first step. When I first started getting on my path to entrepreneurship and really started to get more bag, I put it all into myself.
Yeah.
I didn't buy no stocks. I didn't buy no crypto. I just bought books, courses, and coaching. And it's reaping a reward.
Right.
Right now, my digital marketing agency, I have a coach right now. You know what I mean? I pay him monthly, and his insight has enriched my business greatly. I've already tripled my service value in terms of my product offering, just off of 3 conversations that are an hour long. Super impactful. You know what I mean? Where I was making this amount, I done tripled it, and now I can think about hiring people. I understand, okay, this is how my workflow should look like.
Right.
I would have never been able to fast track that experience without investing.
Got you. I feel that. Like crypto, stocks, I feel like all of that is necessary, but I also feel like you have to first invest in your mind, invest in yourself first, but also make sure that you have an emergency fund first.
Yeah, you gotta have your basics down
Yeah.
first. You gotta learn. One, you gotta learn how to make money.
Yeah.
That's your first step. Don't be trying to. And when I say make money, I don't mean go on your job and then take that earned income and buy things. Learn how to create, an income stream outside of your foundational job.
Right.
And once you build that capacity and you have that cash flow coming in, take that cash flow and then figure out, okay, maybe I get into something stable.
Right.
There was a Robert Kiyosaki program years ago, and it mentioned 3 phases: secure, comfortable, and rich. So you need your first plan needs to be your secure plan, and then your next plan needs to be your comfortable, then you're rich. So secure was, do you have your insurances? Do you have your savings plan? Do you have all the necessary things of life first?
Right.
Are you secure? Is your job, your income, all that stable? You get your secure plan in place, then you can focus on comfortable, which would be buying the house, you know what I
Right.
mean, buying the car you want, you know what I mean, getting the clothes you like, that stuff. Then you go into your rich plan,
Right.
which is maybe I want to get the yacht, maybe
Mm-hmm.
I want to, you know, travel the world and touch the four corners or seven, whatever corners of the universe, or you know
Right.
what I mean, like
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I definitely. And one thing I will say, uh, by reading his book, is he mentioned the fact that buying a house and living in it is a liability
Yeah,
because you're not earning any income from it. Like a lot of people look at buying a house and that being, a an investment, which it necessarily is, but it's how you use it that makes it an investment. If you're living in it, I mean, you're paying the rent on it every single. I mean, not rent, but that's the mortgage
yeah,
every single month, and that's money going out. Whereas if you are renting it out or Airbnb in it,
hmm,
you're getting earned income from it. Now they're paying the mortgage,
hmm,
and that's why it becomes a investment. And that's one thing I had to learn from his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is a book y'all need to go read if you haven't read it already.
great book.
Um, but again, the investment part of things, don't be scared to get into crypto or stocks and think that, oh, is money going out, I'm not gonna see it. It's just the fact of having that asset and knowing it's gonna grow over time. Your bank account is cool, the
Hmm.
savings is cool, and going
Yeah.
back to what Pro said, that's your foundation. That's the beginning stages of it.
Hmm.
But also, don't get too hooked on it to where you don't take any money that you receive and be scared to put it into a business or
Yeah.
put it into a crypto or put it into stocks. Obviously, learn those areas before doing so, but also don't be afraid to lose money. That's what business is. Not saying that the goal is to lose money, but you're going to lose money
Yeah, I think
when you're
it's
trying to earn money.
it's gonna be at risk. You know what I mean? And you gotta go through that. You gotta feel that. You gotta feel loss. You
Right.
gotta. That's the learning curve.
Yeah.
You know, and you stay in it long enough. I see some players, man. They really shaking in the crypto game.
Yeah.
I did decent myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
The
uh,
pandemic for sure was on.
man, I mean, it was the time.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it's still the time.
Right.
But I think you got to get educated, and that's
Mm-hmm.
that invest in self first in education. Um, know who to listen to.
Right.
Um, yeah, that's it.
How much would you say you learned from school?
School,
Or would you say most of your knowledge came after school?
I mean, it came after school because I invested in it after school.
Mm-hmm.
I think school has an importance. I know a lot of people say, "Oh man, you don't need, formal education and stuff like that." But I look at that as academia. One of the ways I kind of frame it is um, when you're taking like multiple classes and you're going through like calculus, chemistry, you're taking AP English and all these different
Mm-hmm.
things. What I find is that like some of the friends that finished college and did all that, their scope of how they're able to problem solve is a lot more vast.
Right.
You know, if you just say, well, forget school and forget education, you don't have enough things to pull from in your mental development because all that develops you mentally, even if you feel like you're not using it. Like, I don't use calculus
You're right.
and all this stuff, but it's in my brain
You just
because
have to
I've
dig.
taken those classes and I had to think through some of those problems, even if I got a C. You know what I
Right.
mean? I had to use my mental capacity to think through those things.
Yeah.
So that's shaped me. Whether I want to agree to it or not, it has. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
I may not use it, but so when I look at school in that sense, like, hey, you may not use it, but you're actually applying it in some form or fashion once you start to assess your life and where you want to go. Now, when it comes to making money, school ain't really teaching you that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's a different framework. And me personally, I don't relate the two.
You're
You know what I
right.
mean? I'm like,
Right.
school ain't for making money.
It's for Having a job, working a 9 to 5. Yeah.
Well, it's gonna just give you the framework. You know what I mean? And I don't
Right.
even think it's necessarily, I think maybe college has some of that conditioning. Like, what are you gonna do? You need a skill set. You need a trade. You need something that people can utilize. And most people going into college are high schoolers, and they need a skill set to go into the job field to make money to become that entrepreneur or whatever. Or the entrepreneur, we need workers.
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
we need people that work, and
Yeah.
it's just a stepping stone. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's a stepping stone to income. It's a skill set you get to apply real time once you have it. And if you until you can mature your business idea or your venture, or you may just get it early and just start popping off with a great idea and be streamlined to know how to be profitable. You know what I
Right.
mean? It happens every day, especially in this digital age. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
And I always say, if it's not a bad thing to go to college, but go to college for something that you need a degree for. Go to college if you're trying to become, a doctor. Go to college if you're trying to become an architect. Go to college for those specific things. Don't go to college. For me personally, I went to
Yeah.
college for business, and I promise you, it didn't do nothing for me because I felt like I have to be in that world. Like I have to be hands on to learn from it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like what they mostly taught me was more like definitions of words, rather than the real world experience of business.
That is probably the challenge with school. Is it's just there's a delay because you're just consuming information and you're
Mm-hmm.
not putting it at practice in real time. Where now with YouTube and stuff, you can I'm on YouTube, I'm on this, and I can implement something at speed
Right.
and get a result out of it, and that builds confidence and moves you forward much faster. So. Um,
Like if you don't know
School is a business too,
right, exactly. Like if you don't know what you want to do with your life, go to college. But if you have a direction that you want to go towards that doesn't require college, excuse me, like I said, for instance, business, learn from people that's in business, and that's where your education will come from. Read books, you know what I'm saying? Get a mentor, somebody who's been in that field that you are trying to get into so that they can teach you how to be successful in that field. I can, like I said, I went to college and they told me, the definitions of certain words and things of that nature, and it was cool for the time being. But like I said, I have to be hands on, and then I'm looking at the professor. I'm like,
and
how you
see
teach
where
me about business and
no,
you
no.
ain't got a business?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I had to
That's a
think
problem.
about one day.
That's a problem.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're not in business, how you gonna teach me about business? You get what I'm saying? So it didn't.
Yeah.
Things like that just didn't move me in the right direction. It didn't make me feel like I should be going to college. But like I said, if you don't know what you want to do with your life, go to college so you can figure it out.
But my thing is this though, it's all gonna cost.
Yeah.
So like, people say, well, a degree is gonna cost you X, Y, Z a year. I spent 50 grand in education last year. You know what I mean? So that's just my own personal education. Sitting down with coaches, courses,
Reading.
and reading.
Yeah.
Network events.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling, doing all these different things to connect and expand who I am. That's a cost, and it's
Right.
an endless cost.
Exactly.
So don't think you avoiding a bill by not going to college.
Yeah. And don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Don't think I'm just saying don't go to college and then let that be the end of your education. I'm saying you find that education outside of college, so to where people who are doing this in real time, people who have been successful in these fields like you trying to get into, make sure you read, make sure you got a mentor, make sure you going to networking events, make sure that you checking out courses, make sure you're doing all these necessary steps so that you still upgrading your mind and your paradigm. Like a lot of times y'all would be in a situation where you stop learning, and when you stop learning, that's when you stop growing. So always be in the mindset of trying to grow and get better and become somebody greater than who you are already. um what's Paul, let me ask you, what's a problem that you see in today's society It could be in business. It can be, just the way people think. It can be in anything that you see a problem in.
A problem in society right now. I would probably just say honesty, like being true to reality, being honest. I feel like a lot of times I don't know, we're in a particular culture in the world where you can believing is what's true, and what's true is not necessarily what you believe. So I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about the difference between an idea and a dream. A lot of times we chase dreams, but they're bad ideas.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know, it's like you can go take a trip or do something and say, well, I'm following my dream, right?
Right.
But your dream is actually it's not a sound idea. It doesn't necessarily solve a problem,
Right.
or your approach to it isn't timely. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so you're kind of, you got to kind of sit back and really assess, like, is this something is this uh is this gonna really work? You know what I mean?
Right.
And really sit down and say, this is one idea that I have, but I have other ideas, and you got to get feedback, and you got to get insight into the viability of that idea, rather than just saying, hey, I have a dream, and if you don't support me, you
Yeah.
don't believe in my dream. And it's like, it's not that I don't believe in your dream. I just don't think it's a sound idea, or it's not a timely idea.
Or your approach to the idea or your plan for the idea
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make sense. Like you can be like a lot of times people will say, I'm a great cook. Like I cook great food. I should start a restaurant, but don't know the business side of a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the conflict comes, where they like, I can make money, but then they don't understand like, okay, the business side of things has to be right for you to make that money.
That comes with that patience I was talking about.
Yeah, yeah, but some people can have the dream to run a restaurant, but their execution is not there.
Yeah. So there's other pieces that you have to get in order
Right,
to make that happen. You know what I
right.
mean?
So or some things just might be statements like, I want to travel the world and
Yeah.
yeah, things like that. You just throwing things out there. It might sound good in the time that you say it,
Mm-hmm.
but the time may not be right. The funds might not be right. The whole idea itself may not be, you know, a idea that you should be thinking about at that time. So
Yeah, and I think what I see in society, I think there's, especially because I have interns and stuff that tend to work for me, and they look at people on social media, and they appear to have all these things and living this so-called dream life, and then they're depressed because they're like, why am I not here? Why, oh
yeah,
man, like, they're a photographer and they're making all this money, what's wrong with me?
right.
You know what I'm saying? And feeling like something is off base. And I think that's the deeper problem within society, of us, like, having so much viewership into other people's lives.
Yeah,
It's easy to try to measure yourself against that. And I see it just kind of being, it's a problem that's just natural to the reality of what life is right now. But, it is an issue, because I definitely am constantly trying to say, like, why are you beating yourself down because you're not in that person's position? You don't even really know that person's position. They're showcasing this, but that's not their full reality. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I feel like a lot of times people they fantasize about other people's lives and they try to mimic their lives. That like people don't realize a lot of times people, celebrities or people who have the status that you are looking at or that you assume have this status, they're posting things that may not even be theirs. They might be in cars that's not theirs. They may be in houses that's not theirs. They might be traveling around the world, but they not paying for it. Somebody else is paying for it. Like it's just so many different things that you have to add into this fantasy that you believe you're supposed to be living at the time. But if you really want the things that you want in life, just trust the journey and believe in the journey and stay in the moment. Like continuously work towards what you want. Like don't say, okay, I ain't got it right now, so I'm mad now, I'm down, I'm depressed. Don't put these expectations that you're supposed to be like. I used to always say, people used to say, I know a lot of people may have thought about this, but when they was younger, as soon as I get 18, I'm going to a house, and then they don't get a house, leave the parents' house.
Yeah.
Now they in a place where they depressed. They feel like they ain't did what they
They're
supposed to
to
do.
do.
But I use this analogy where I say when people turn 18, you've just now been birthed into this world. So technically you're 1 year old. So now life hasn't really hit you until now. So now you have to start taking care of bills. Now you have to worry about your livelihood. Now you have to buy your own clothes. Now you have to buy your own food. Now you have to make sure that whatever your future looks like, you have to execute on that. Like you don't have nobody else to manage your life. It's your own self that can manage your own life. And you have to go through these experiences to help you achieve what you want to achieve in life. So don't put these expectations like, okay, I'm 18 years old or I'm 21. I gotta have this by this age. It don't
Yeah. That's
don't feel like you failed because you haven't gotten there. Like so many people have become successful at older ages.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like I know that a business plan is needed in some aspects when you're trying to get a loan or something of that nature. But for me, I really don't believe in the idea of a business plan where people say, okay, in this year, I believe I'm gonna make this. I believe I'm gonna make this. It's cool to have those, not necessarily assumptions, but more so of the plan that you believe that you're gonna execute. Sometimes shit don't plan out the way you think it's gonna plan out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
most times.
yeah, like you can have a plan, but it may not work that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
It takes experience to get
exactly.
there. It takes experience to get there.
Right.
You know, like, a company season, like maybe like a Coca-Cola can have deeper financial projections. But when
Right.
you're first starting, the best thing to do is just get started.
Facts.
And once you get started, the business is going to start telling you the information. It's going to give you the data
Right.
to improve.
Right. Right. So, I like to play a game of what you choosing. Basically, I throw a couple of questions at you,
Okay.
and you tell me what's your answer that which way you leaning towards.
Okay.
Let's say you got 100 grand just to throw away. Not necessarily throw away, but to invest in.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Would you rather invest that into a business or stock, crypto, things of that nature?
A business.
Elaborate on that.
So, I'd invest into a business because I have control of the variables in that business, and I can invest in that business in a way where I build it to sell.
Right.
So I can staff that company, figure out its roadmap, bring ideas to it. It's kind of like in real estate, you can buy a property, and as is in a distressed state, you can buy that property and you can fix it up.
Right.
And it appreciates in value almost instantaneously. You know what I mean? It builds equity inside of that. So that's the same thing with the business. So depending on the business model, I would invest in the business, and then I would use the cash flow that I'm getting from that business to invest in stocks and other stuff like that.
Perfect answer. Okay. 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 All right. All right. I respect that. I respect that. So, if you had to choose between a type of currency you would rather possess, would you rather possess gold, crypto, or U.S. currency?
Gold.
Why?
Um, well, crypto is, don't get me wrong, you can win in crypto. You know what I mean? It's just not as tangible yet.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of the world um, values gold, even though American dollar is not backed by the gold standard. You
Hmm.
know, gold still holds a lot of value. So, um, yeah, it would, if I was to hold
Yeah.
something, you know, it would be gold. You know, if I cash up on crypto and, you know, take some of that out and put in a gold portfolio, you know,
Yeah.
I think it's just a real asset. I think anything real, anything tangible is where the value is. You know, the dollar, you know, it's gonna fluctuate in a crazy. I mean, it's all currency at the end of the day, but tangible assets are where it's at.
Well said. I ain't even gotta say nothing else on that because I definitely was gonna elaborate, but you on point I go ahead on. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah.
So, what's my last one I'm gonna ask you? I think I got another one I'm gonna ask you. Damn. I lost my train of thought. But what's next for pro, man? What we got next, man? What's some things that people could look out for? What's some things that you know you
Uh,
can give to the people?
my biggest thing right now is so I have a digital marketing agency called Bigger Vision Agency, and right now we're helping medium-sized businesses establish their digital presence.
Mm-hmm.
So just improving their web presence, making I would say lead conversion websites, optimizing their websites for better conversions, and yeah, my passion is to see businesses grow, individuals grow. So that's one of the areas where I feel like I'm really driving a lot of direction towards. Obviously, I have a new venue called Rendezvous in Pomona.
Mm.
So we're getting that streamlined, and we should have that up by the end of the week, where we're going to start promoting for that, and then expanding on my i.e. photo rentals business, where we rent out photography, videography equipment. So a lot of the young guys or people who just need gear, feel like they can't afford it, i.e. photo rentals is the place to go, especially in this digital age where we're printing a lot of media. Access to equipment is necessary, so it's a valuable business that I think a lot of people would could appreciate.
Yeah, I might need to use some of that soon too. Might as well go ahead and tap
Go
in
ahead,
with
man. Tap in,
shit.
man.
But to y'all already know we got a whole bunch of new merch coming for Kings in Paradise. New line dropping January 31st for Kings in Paradise. Got the mink green icon sweatsuits for y'all to pre-order on the website or nah, on the website, because I was gonna say if you know me personally, you could DM me. But yeah, pre-order those on the website. Queens of Paradise new line dropping February 28th, and then Wife Me Collective, we got a new collection dropping right before Valentine's Day. So make sure y'all tune in. Also, February 18th, I have a fashion show for the Wife Me Collection.
Oh, let's
So
go.
make sure you tune in. Make sure you check out the pages. All the links will be in the description below. And you're tuned into Legendary Wisdom. And before I leave out of here, every time I get on the panel, I always ask my guests to give me some legendary wisdom or give some legendary wisdom to the people who are watching.
Legendary wisdom. Um, let's see. Number one, be mindful of who you listen to.
Mm.
Understand your willingness to learn, and also understand your willingness to change. And you may be a 10 on willingness to learn, but you may be a 2 on willingness to change. So you always want to be rating yourself or where you stand on that spectrum. And yeah, that's it, man. Just
Okay.
be willing to learn, be willing to change, and be mindful of who you listen to.
Okay. What am I gonna give y'all today, man?
I know you got something. Deep. You got something deep, man.
I'm trying to think about something right now, man. Sheesh.
You've been hitting them all day, man.
Yeah. This one for the fellas, man. As men, I feel like there's not necessarily, it's a standard that you have to live by. And there's 3 principles or 3 things that I feel like every man should incorporate in his life. And that is the ability to teach, the ability to protect, and the ability to provide. And what I mean by provide, I mean in any situation that occurs in your life or your family's life, you're able to provide, whether that be income, advice, solutions, just be able to provide in all areas of that situation and make sure that your family is good at the end of the day. But like I said, protect, provide, and teach. 3 things I feel like every man should live by. And that is the end of Legendary Wisdom.
Man.
I'm your host, Will Hunters.
Man, I'm Pro.
I appreciate you, Pro, for pulling
Hey,
up.
man,
G.
thanks for having me, man. This is great. Great experience,
it,
man.
Yeah. You know, we got some topics we ain't touched on. So
I know. Hey, we got to save it. You know what I mean?
I'll bring you back. I'll say, you know what? This we flowing with the business, so I'm going to let it stay with business today.
Oh, man. He want me to alley-oop?
Nah, we got
to stay on track, man.
We for sure got another episode. We're going to tap in next time. But again, I'm your host, Will Hunters. I appreciate you for tuning in.
Sure.
Make sure you tune in next Sunday.